Welcome to Exit Algorithms, the podcast where we decode what it really takes to grow, scale, and plan successful business exits. Today, I'm honored to be joined by Asa Patterson. He's a retired Marine Corps captain and co-founder of Premier 72. Asa has created the retirement bank method to help baby boomers unlock hidden wealth from their companies, even if they're not ready to sell. We'll cover Asa's journey into deal making, why owners get stuck in retirement limbo, and ideas about business exits to help maximize their sale value. Asa, great to have you. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Pete, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely excited to dive in.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to this. Yeah, I think it'd be good for listeners if you don't mind sharing a bit about your background, how you got started in business, and what led you to where you are today in your journey.
So, Pete, how far do you want me to go back? So I would say it started when I was on medical hold from the Marine Corps, and I read two books. The first book that I read that changed my life was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the second book was a book titled Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? But it was kind of like an autobiography about a gentleman named Reginald Lewis, who was
Mm,
in mergers and acquisitions and is a phenom today, talked about past deals in the 80s. And just reading his book about business acquisition and mergers, this was in the late 90s. So it really wasn't a lot of access to the internet like we have now. And that really put my mind on a different thought process, but it didn't give me enough to really say, hey, I really want to learn more about how to do that. So that's what really started me in the finance world and just learning more about money and that education process right there.
yeah, for sure. Book's a classic. I mean, yeah, it
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through sort of how you got started with, we're going to start with Premiere 72.
Okay.
What led to that?
So I've been an entrepreneur since I got out of the Marine Corps. And what I found is that the knowledge of money and how it works was so important to be successful. So that led me to really wanting to know more about how the industry works. So I started going to see a lot of financial advisors. And I was a little disappointed the result of those meetings because I just felt that they were using a lot of jargon and using a lot of words to attempt to confuse me. And I left a little more disheartened than I thought I should have been. So that led me to getting my licenses. So I've had my Series 663, which are licenses you need with the SEC to sell mutual funds and products tied to the market, and my life and health license for life insurance. And that's when my passion for just education and learning in the money started. And that grew to where I created Premier 72 with my co-partner, Sandra Noble. And we started out to work with families and individuals and helping them understand how money works and the importance of insurance and savings, but really found that our time was better served working with business owners because we found early on that a lot of the business owners would get into their 60s and 70s and some even early 80s and they were still working, Pete. And
Wow.
I just, why was that happening? So, talking and working with these business owners, they were great at running the business. They were phenomenal at it, right? Had the business 30, 40 years, but they didn't make the time to truly understand the money side and how to prepare the business to pay them in their retirement. So starting that spilled over into learning more about small businesses and working with them and helping them understand how to position their bank accounts, their checking accounts, so that it would be better suited when they met retirement age.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. It kind of flows naturally. Just
Right.
how are you gonna plan and have enough money to live off the rest of your life?
Yes.
And especially, I feel like it's becoming more and more of a prevalent issue just with you can't rely on Social Security anymore these days, right?
No, because it's a major unfunded liability, not an asset. And that's a whole different conversation. In the state of Illinois, Chicago, where I was born and raised, they have I think it's a $33 billion unfunded pension liability. Their financial rating overall is a F, right? So it's just
Wow.
not individuals, it's the system as well. And really, Pete, that's why we created the retirement bank method so that it turns individuals privately held businesses into an income engine. So many were closing their doors. There was a gentleman that I met at one time. He had a very successful barbecue chicken business. I think he had three total locations across the Chicagoland area. When I met, he only had one, and it was propped up by a crutch. He was in his early 70s. He had no children, and at that time, no one was close to him. So he was opening and closing the restaurant. He had an awesome business. At one time, he had, I think, four or five different barbecue sauces that were for sale in the grocery stores across the Chicagoland. So he had a powerful system, a strong name. If I named the name, people would know him right off. And he had no way of retiring. He ended up having such financial, I don't even know an adjective strong enough. It was just in such a state of disarray that it was so challenging for me to get something in place, and he didn't trust me, right? Because when you get to that age, you've dealt with people for so long and had so many people promise you things and break those promises. It was a challenge for me to develop a level of trust with him to truly break through to help him. And that's again why the retirement bank method is a powerful tool for business owners, because it helps them turn their business into an income generating machine for their lifetime, or a machine that pays them a lump sum, a liquidation event, so they can
Mm,
take that money and put it into annuity for their retirement as well.
got it. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So is in the retirement bank method, is it kind of a cure to the retirement limbo problem that you talk about?
Yes, yes. So the numbers say that if there are 10 businesses for sale, only eight will actually sell. 8.5, right? And that's a problem. So now you have all these businesses that are functioning, they're viable, but they exist only because the owner's there.
Mm,
And we have right now $10 trillion in private wealth and business wealth that will be transferred and is trapped inside these companies. So if we don't come up with some kind of system, some kind of way to help release these businesses and help this income transfer to the next generation, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a serious problem. And we're trying our best to come up with something that's going to solve that problem so that we can unlock the trapped wealth inside businesses.
yeah. No, it makes sense. And on that, only 2 out of 10 are actually selling. Why do you think that is? I think we talked on the pre-show,
Yes.
sometimes they'll get like misconceptions about valuation and it's just out of touch with the market. Is that
Right.
kind of, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's an education, Pete. So many business owners know how to run their business. They're successful in the operations and daily operations, and they are the business. They are the business. So if they don't show up on a regular basis, I ask business owners all the time, if you left for a week, only a week, and didn't allow your business to call you, how would it function? When you came back, what would happen? Most of them say if the doors were still open, it would be in a bad shape. So that's the main thing. Teaching business owners how to understand the process that we need to remove you from the day to day activities. A lot of business owners are control freaks. That's why they went into business themselves. So to automate the books, to underwrite the books so that they are understandable by more people than the owner and the CPA or accountant that they've had for 35 years.
Mm,
Because a lot of times we don't change advisors. So in that case, they have unspoken systems, unspoken SOPs in place because he's been dealing with the same person for so long. He understands his system. And a new person coming in looking at that would not be able to understand the system. So those are the two main things, really helping the owner understand that they should not be the business, and to get the books in place. Once we do that, then we set up SOPs, and then we're working on setting up a system of people that will help run the business so that it becomes transferable. Because a buyer, you know this, a buyer is looking to buy a system that generates money without our involvement.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, financial order, actually being able to look at the P&Ls or tax returns and it's accurate to what the business is actually making,
Right.
and then owner dependence. Those are probably the two biggest factors you'd say, huh?
Those are the two biggest factors, the main factors, because if the money's not, man, and the other thing is helping the owner understand the differences between how they see the value of the business and how a lender will see the value of the business. Those are two completely different numbers. And when you get to that point, a lot of owners, because of the lack of understanding on transferring the business, think the buyer is trying to undercut the value of the business. And a
Hmm.
way we kind of get past that is like, no, based on SBA underwriting guidelines, these are the numbers that they look at to put a value on the business so that they can provide a loan. So
Hmm.
that helps when you show them, hey, these are the numbers that we're looking at, not these numbers, and this is why. It kind of softens the blow, but they still believe that a buyer is trying to get the lowest price available. And in their mind, they're up here because of the books and because of not understanding the difference when a buyer is looking to buy, how they look at the business versus a buyer that's coming in to operate the business. Those are two
Hmm.
different buyers as well. So the main point is just really helping the seller understand that we are on the same team. I like your business. That's why we want to move forward and have a different conversation with you. And here is what we're looking at. And here's what I want you to start looking at so that we can see if we can come to some kind of understanding.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of business owners, I feel, are just so caught up in the day-to-day running their business. They spend very little time figuring this stuff out and really actually learning, becoming knowledgeable about the topic. So it feels like a lot of the role is just like educating them and getting them to understand the the whole process.
And what's also disheartening, Pete, is when we talk to owners and show them the mirror that they have been avoiding looking, they don't want to hear it because they spend so much of their life pouring all this energy into this business to, at the end of the day, not being worth what they want. It's again, it's just a culture shock that they go through that, and they're in massive denial. They've been in denial for years, but just don't or didn't understand how to fix what they don't have working properly.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'd love to get into a little bit more of the mechanics of the retirement bank method.
Okay.
I remember we talked on the pre-show on three doors. I'd love if you don't mind sharing, expounding a little bit on that.
It's kind of like three legs to the stool, right? So, engine number one is wealth extraction, right? When we go in and help the business owner, what are the price corrections we have to put in place? What are the contract renegotiations we have to put in place? One of my clients, this is many years ago, we thought we were going to identify $1 million in overall cost savings, right? When you go in and look at the contracts, look at the overhead, look at personnel, look at outdated systems that could be upgraded and automated, even look at the tax optimization tools that can be put in place. With this client, we thought going in we were going to save them $1 million. In less than 9 months, it turned out to be almost 3.8, almost $4 million, right? So it just
Mm,
goes with the wealth extraction, right? That's engine one. Number two is just the business systems. We have to strengthen the SOPs, the leadership alignment. A big problem, Pete, is if the employees know you're the owner and a lot of your employees are family members and friends, do you really have a leadership position with those employees?
mm, not really.
Exactly, right? So that's a big challenge because they are messing with the efficiency of your system because there are a lot of cogs. So with the leadership alignment, we look at if the business is run that way, we give the appearance that there's a new owner, there's new management. don't go talking to Tom because he doesn't have the leadership role to answer that question anymore. Here's a new manager in place that will answer that question. And it really comes with a lot of team meetings, a lot of involvement saying, hey, we want to scale this business to the next level. In order to do that, here's our new manager. Here's the SOPs. Here is the new procedures for bringing a customer on board, those kind of things. And that helps even giving the employees uniforms. If it's just a t-shirt, hey, here's a t-shirt and here's an allowance to go buy black pants, right? Here's an allowance you go to DSW and you buy these type of shoes. That puts the entire environment in a different tone. Man, and just doing that alone truly helps that psychology of the owner as well as the employees because it's totally different than what they've ever seen before. They're like, man, something really is different. And it helps them understand that they need to now treat this as a job, not as a relationship they have with their aunt or uncle, which a lot of time damages the business. And the third one is with the lifetime income design. We talk about it as an annuity design. How do we structure the business so that the seller has a liquidation event and in a certain period of time, we continue with providing them income over the long haul. A lot of owners don't know anything about that. I come from real estate world, so creative real estate financing is my happy place, right? So I'm coming up with ways to create and structure so many different things. So it was amazing to see how real estate creativity just overlaid onto business acquisition creativity. And when you kind of share with an owner that, hey, you were making X amount of money inconsistently over the life of your business. Because a lot of times, Pete, and you probably know this, so many business owners are underpaid. Their staff and their employees sometimes are paid better than they are.
Mhm.
So when we come in with the lifetime income design, it really helps them understand, wow, I have more here than I thought. And it helps them understand that we are the experts and that we can truly be a safe pair of hands that they can transfer the business to.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, especially it comes from the business broker side of things where they're gonna encourage the seller to get all the cash at close so they get paid.
Biggest, right. Right.
But if a business owner talked to you, that you could really show them the light and look how much more money you're going to get in the long term,
Yes.
plus take advantage of being in a lower tax bracket. You're not going to get see nearly as much of the proceeds going to the IRS.
Advantages, Pete. That's one thing. So a lot of business owners are using, they didn't start as business owners, right? They were employees for X amount of years and say, hey, I'm tired of working for someone. So let me create a business from what I like to do. And a lot of times they are still using the same accountant, tax person, CPA, whoever the person is that they grew up with, the same one that they used when they were just a W-2 employee. So a lot of times this person is not sophisticated enough to understand the many tax advantages that are now available to a business owner or owner who is an employee of a company. So when we put a lot of those things in place, man, people are amazed that of the savings that they see. And sometimes it's like, hey, is this legal? Right. And I love it when they lean in and ask that question because it is. They just were not aware of that side of the tax code that benefits business owners because they've been using their family member or someone that they've been using 15 years before they became a business owner. So that's another powerful profit leak that we plug. And again, they will see the benefits of proper tax planning over many years.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
It's a beautiful thing.
it
It's
is.
really benefits both parties.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Uh, one of the themes of this show, we like to talk about technology and AI.
yeah.
I was curious, how are you leveraging those right now in your business,
Oh,
and where do you see that going in the next few years?
so I'm a couple years older than you, I think. One of the TV shows or cartoons I grew up watching was The Jetsons.
Mm,
Does that sound ring a bell to you, Pete?
I know what it is. Yeah.
I just think about that. The new Alexa, it's talking now, right? The new Alexa is interactive, right? So when you go to ChatGPT, you click the microphone and then it pops up, and then you can kind of have a conversation back and forth with it. The new Alexa is going to be the same way, and it's just a big speaker in your room. That reminded me of the Jetsons when they just ask a question and then something spits out an answer. I think that a lot of baby boomers resist the advancements of technology because they just don't know, they don't trust it, they fear it. I'm using it a lot in an advisory role in a conversation on, hey, I'm thinking about this. This is what I would like to do. Give me some more ideas about that, or how can I do that better? And it's just phenomenal how powerful it is. What's the guy's name that created ChatGPT platform?
Oh, I should
We
know
should.
that.
Yeah, he was on Jimmy Fallon the other day, and he was just talking about how, because Jimmy asked him in 5, 10 years, where will AI be? He was like, man, 10 years, that's a long time. I'm more excited about where we're going to be next year because of the advancements and how it's learning from what it's learning. And it's just
Yeah.
really interesting.
It's crazy, right?
Yes,
It's
yeah,
funny you bring up the Jetsons. It really is like technology is, well, essentially magic. Well, we would call magic a few hundred years, not even that long ago.
right. Yeah, I love it because it really helps solidify ideas and just I can understand how business owners fear it and they just don't have time. I think I'm
Yeah,
advanced in what I do with it, but I know what I'm doing with it is just a fraction of what it's capable of. It's exciting to learn more about it and begin to integrate it into my own business and businesses of the people that we're working with.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it provides a great opportunity, a lever for growth as well.
yes,
A lot of these retiring, business owners are not really may not have growth and just technology on their minds, and it's evident in the efficiency of their operations.
right. It is. I mean, and they get left behind. There was a dentist that we didn't work with because he was already selling his business and had a broker and all of his equipment. It looked like the equipment he started his practice with. It was so old, so outdated. And I don't know if he ever sold, but in those situations, for that type of practice, because the systems that he had were so outdated, the only thing that can be done with that is to pair with another dentist and
Mm.
sell his book of business to that dentist, right? So if he had 1,000 clients, which I doubt he had, let's say at 500 or 50, then you pair with another dentist. Hey, these are my clients. I would like to transfer to them. This is the value that they've brought me. What can you pay me up front or on a drip as they come in? And then that dentist kind of goes into the other office to kind of integrate the
Mm.
handoff. But that's just a case of a baby boomer didn't have the capacity to scale and grow his business as the times moved because he was working in his business, right? What they say, we want to help them work
Yeah.
on their business and not in their business, right? So many people are head down, working fast, and they look up like, oh my God, things are different.
Yeah. 100%. It's a common story.
And so going back to the retirement bank method, that's why I'm excited about it because with that common story, with the number of baby boomers that need the assistance, as we go in there on a consulting for equity chassis, it will lead us to a position where we can either sell the business or we can just integrate it, fold it into our portfolio and continue to pay the owner or buy them all the way out, depending on how we formulate that. So I'm excited about it because my background is in education and teaching. So this will help really educate and teach business owners. And the benefit is, I want their business to grow just as much as they want their business to grow because of the financial consistency of us working together and me having an ownership piece in it. It just really helps everybody versus if I was a consultant and pay me $10,000 and a retainer of 5,000 a month, and we'll hope that maybe we'll fix things.
Yeah.
So we win when they win. And I think that's a real good system to have in place because everybody is focused on the same bottom line.
Absolutely. Yeah, the incentives are aligned.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. It's been a great conversation. We're gearing up here towards the end. I wanted to ask you, I'd like to end with just one actionable step business owners could take to become more exit ready.
Great question. What's the one actionable step that they can take to become business ready? What I could do, Pete, is give you a link to our exit fit score. That is a link that will allow them to take on their own assessment. You get a full PDF report that's emailed to you, and you can just go through it. I my joke about the Marine Corps is it's so easy. A Marine can do it. So I've structured the results so that it's easily understandable and they can implement things themselves. But if they don't do the exit fit score assessment, two things. One, begin to think about how you can build trust in someone in your business that you can start transferring some of your day-to-day activities to. That's the biggest challenge. They become so driven in what they do, they don't trust people to let them do what you need them to do in their way, right? If the end result is the same, they don't have to go going to stairs. I may skip a stair and my cousin may take every step, but the goal is, or the end result is, we're at the top of the stairs. So begin to work with someone in your business that you can start transferring some of your day-to-day activities to, and begin to have your CPA start processing your books for sale. So
Mm,
if they think they may sell in 6 years, start it today because you're going to be surprised at the way your books are, the way your finances are, and how a buyer will look at them. So those two things, start transferring some of your day-to-day activities to a trusted second in command in the business and start looking at your finances to make them better. But the better way would be to, I'll send you the link, Pete, to do the exit fit score so that you can have something tangible to work from.
absolutely. Yeah, sounds good. Be sure to leave that in the show notes as
All
well as
right.
your LinkedIn. I see you're real active on there. It's really good content.
Thank you. Just trying to get as much content out there as possible. And I see a lot of your content. I was like, oh, that's good stuff. So I take a note on that. So I appreciate the content you're putting out as well. I appreciate you having me on the show because this is phenomenal. The more baby boomer business owners and owners in general can see folks like us are out there, we really want to see them win as much as we want to win. I think we'll start changing things for the number of sales that are happening. Change it from 2 out of 10 selling to maybe 6 out of 10. That would be great because of what we were able to start today.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Exciting. Yeah. It's been great having you, Asa. Thanks for coming.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And if you want me back, I'm welcome for the opportunity to come back.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch.
All right.